Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael, welcome back to Fudge Muppet, and prepare yourself for our latest build, the Warden. Before we get into the build, I'd like to say two quick things. One, thank you for tuning into our podcast, The Fudge Muppet Show. It was awesome and a new one comes out tomorrow. And two, our upcoming video project, The Ideal Fallout 4, is making very quick progress, so subscribe to stay tuned over the coming weeks. The Warden is essentially a hero character, and is all about being heavily fortified against magic and melee. The only true weakness of the Warden is archery, however with some decent dodging and tactical movement it's not usually a problem. If this build gets 1,000 likes in the first day, we'll upload a guide on how to make the face, and the backstory for the Warden goes like this. Brought up in a family of Khajiit caravanners, the Warden had seen a massive amount of Tamriel by the time he was just 10. As he continued to age into an adult, he found himself traveling with his family up through Hammerfell. His entire life he had never lived in a home, but his parents had always enjoyed the landscape of Hammerfell. It held similarities to their homeland without all the cultural practices they found annoying. Upon arriving in Hammerfell for probably the 15th time in his life, the Warden's family decided they would settle down and call Hammerfell home. As time went by living in Dragonstar, the Warden experienced the turmoil of the war in Hammerfell. He felt awful for those affected by the conflict, however at the time he was too young to help. Eventually, as he became a bit older, more hardened and more efficient in combat, the Warden helped the people of Hammerfell to rebuild certain areas. After he did what he could, he decided to travel to Skyrim to help the recently emerging civil war. He did not wish to take a side, he just desired to help all in need. The Warden is of course caught on the border and taken to Helgen, where he will escape and tend to the issue of dragons coming back. Being a Khajiit, many Nords will not like the Warden, however there are also plenty that have heard of his good deeds and truly appreciate his existence. The Warden does not want a companion because he couldn't stand to see them get hurt under his guidance. He also is a bit indecisive when it comes to the Civil War. He knows it creates violence and bloodshed, however he refuses to take a side, and so will be present during the peace negotiations at High Hrothgar. The Warden's main focus is to tend to the needs of Skyrim's people, whether it be to slay dragons, hunt vampires, or defeat mysterious threats offshore. The skills for the Warden are one-handed, heavy armor, smithing, and restoration. Whilst he looks a bit arcane, the only magic he uses is restoration. Smithing will be used to make your Stalrim mace and armor, and will also be used to fortify them. This will give you quite a high armor rating and make you able to deal a lot of damage. Sure, your mace isn't the fastest, but because you're skilled enough to connect blows, it doesn't really matter. Also, a favorite of the Warden is to put his own speed behind his mace and use sprinting attacks. One-handed will of course be to weld your mace, and heavy armor to be even more protected. Finally, your restoration will also be used to protect you from mages and allow you to heal yourself and others. Circle of protection can also be used. Wards are a big part of the Warden, as ironic as that sounds, and this with your armor will keep you safe against warriors and mages. As I said earlier, archers can be an issue, so make sure you have a healing spell equipped when you fight them, or simply get nice and close using any available cover. The playstyle for the Warden involved avoiding conflict where possible. I should also mention that because of this, speech can be a minor skill you work on after you have mastered the other main skills, and you can invest perks in it under your own judgment. To see all the perks that you will need, just look in the description and click the perk link. As the Warden, you must help as many as possible and always prioritize saving those who are in physical danger. In most battles you will be using a mace in the right hand and your ward in the left hand. If there are no magical enemies present, you can switch out your left hand spell to healing. Using sprint, charge into battle against your foes and sprint attack with your mace, hammering it down on their collarbone or skull to break their bones and leave them incapacitated and likely dead. If you are fighting a group of enemy mages, the Warden will dual wield his ward spell and use it to absorb enemy magicka and let them waste theirs. He will then finish them off with his mace as he gets up close and protected with his arcane force field. The stat spread for the Warden is 40% health, 40% magicka, and 20% stamina. 40% health will be to keep you alive alongside your high armor rating and protective wards, and 40% into magicka will ensure that these wards or healing spells are usually available to use. 20% stamina will ensure for that extra power attack or sprinting strike into battle, and of course make you able to run quickly throughout the land of Skyrim for more than a mere 10 seconds. And that wraps up this week's Skyrim build, the Warden. Thanks for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you are looking for the links to our social media pages and the perk link, we have put it all in the description box just for you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more Skyrim, Fallout, and gaming discussion. Also, a new episode of The Fudge Muppet Show will be out tomorrow to brighten your Monday, so be sure you don't miss out. My name is Michael, this was The Warden, and I'll see you tomorrow with more Fudge Muppet goodness.